There's something about the way a woman moves, looks, or even laughs that says more than words ever could. Sometimes men think they're just seeing a smile or hearing a casual tone. But beneath that, an entire world of emotion, attraction, and intention is speaking silently. That's what this video is about, understanding those unspoken messages, those subtle cues that reveal what she feels, what she wants, and what she might be testing you for. Welcome back to the channel, where we decode human behavior, attraction, and the psychology behind what most people miss. Now, let's be honest. Female body language has always been one of the most misunderstood subjects among men. Some men overthink it, believing every gesture means she's interested, while others completely miss the signs that she's drawn in. The truth is, her body language isn't random. It's a reflection of her psychology, how she feels in the moment, how safe she feels around you, and how much she respects or desires your presence. Every movement is a silent dialogue between her emotions and your awareness. But here's where it gets controversial. Many men think confidence is about what you say, but women often respond more to what you see and sense. Her posture, her eyes, even the rhythm of her voice can tell you everything if you know how to read it. This isn't manipulation, it's understanding. Because when you can read a woman's unspoken language, you don't chase, you connect. And when you connect, everything changes. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll see how psychology, love language, and body language all come together to shape the way women show affection, and how a man who truly understands it stands out from the rest. But before we start, listen carefully. What you see here in my channel is just a preview, not the full picture. If you really want to master the dating game and learn how modern relationships actually work, don't waste time. Rush right now to https://stoicapproachtolife.com, GVVLS, or go to my description and click the link below and unlock the real strategies, the real teachings, the real results. Don't just watch. Level up today. So let's get started. 1. The silent signals. Every man has, at some point, been in that quiet moment where a woman's actions spoke louder than anything she could ever say. Maybe it was the way she brushed her hair behind her ear, the way she lingered a little longer in your space, or how she smiled without a word. Those are the silent signals. Tiny, almost invisible hints that reveal what she's feeling, even when she doesn't want to say it. But here's the truth most men miss. Women rarely communicate attraction or emotion directly. Instead, they test whether you can feel what's happening beneath the surface. Women are emotional communicators by nature. They express more through energy, tone, and gestures than through straight words. When a woman is interested, her body language becomes softer, more open. Her shoulders relax, her eyes become more expressive, and her movements flow with a kind of rhythm that's hard to fake. She may lean in slightly when you speak, or her laughter comes easier, more genuine. These are her subconscious ways of saying, "I'm comfortable here." But if she crosses her arms, keeps her distance, or avoids eye contact, she's saying something entirely different without ever needing to speak. Now, here's where the psychology kicks in. Women often use these silent cues to feel out your awareness. She wants to see if you're present enough to notice, or if you're too distracted, too nervous, or too self-centered to pick up on what's happening. This is why confident men stand out. They aren't trying to decode her like a puzzle. They're simply observing, calmly, attentively. They notice the slight changes in her tone, the pause before she replies, the way her energy shifts when the conversation gets more personal. That quiet awareness makes her feel understood without a single question being asked. But let's make one thing clear. These signals don't always mean she's into you. Sometimes they're expressions of comfort, curiosity, or even testing boundaries. A smart man doesn't assume. He observes patterns. If her gestures are consistent, if her tone remains warm and her body language stays open across different moments, that's when you're seeing genuine emotional alignment, not random friendliness. Misreading that can lead to awkwardness, or worse, coming off as pushy. The key is patience. Watch, don't rush. The most engaging thing about silent signals is that they're universal yet deeply personal. Every woman has her unique way of showing interest or discomfort. Some might fidget when nervous, others go quiet when intrigued. The more emotionally aware you become, the easier it is to read those differences. It's not about memorizing female body language tricks. It's about tuning into emotional reality. The better you get at that, the more natural your interactions become. In the end, understanding silent signals is about emotional intelligence, not strategy. When you pay attention without judgment or agenda, you connect on a level that most men never reach. She feels it. Your calm, your awareness, your ability to understand her without forcing her to explain herself. That's what makes a man unforgettable. The one who listens not with his ears, but with his presence. 2. Eyes that speak. There's a saying that the eyes never lie, and when it comes to women, that couldn't be more true. A woman's eyes are her loudest form of body language, her clearest window into emotion, curiosity, and desire. The way she looks at you, how long she holds that gaze, and when she chooses to look away, all tell a story that words often hide. For men who know how to read it, those glances can reveal everything from admiration to hesitation. But most men miss it because they're too focused on what to say next instead of simply seeing what's right in front of them. When a woman is genuinely intrigued by you, her eyes soften. There's a warmth in her gaze, an unspoken invitation that says, "I'm paying attention." She might hold your eye contact for a heartbeat longer than usual, not because she's trying to send a signal, but because she feels safe enough to let her emotions be seen. That's attraction in its purest form, quiet, emotional, and deeply psychological. But if she constantly looks away, avoids meeting your eyes, or seems restless when you try to connect, that's a sign of disinterest or discomfort. And understanding that difference saves you from misreading situations or over-pursuing what isn't meant to be. Here's something fascinating about the psychology behind eye contact. It's a form of emotional communication that builds trust faster than words. When a woman locks eyes with you and doesn't break contact too quickly, she's subconsciously opening up. Her brain is assessing your energy, your confidence, and your intent. That's why confident men don't flinch or look away nervously. They meet her gaze with calmness. Not arrogance, not aggression, just quiet composure. That tells her, "I see you, and I'm comfortable here." In that moment, your energy does all the talking. But don't mistake constant eye contact for interest. Some women are naturally expressive or simply polite. They'll look at you as they speak out of respect or friendliness. The real difference lies in emotional synchronization, the subtle moments when both of you lock eyes and the room feels quieter, almost like time slows down. Those are moments of mutual awareness. You feel it, she feels it, and neither of you can explain it. That's not a trick, it's a connection. What's even more intriguing is how women use their eyes to test your reactions. She might glance at you from across the room, then look away quickly to see if you noticed. She wants to know if you're observant, confident, and composed enough not to overreact. That's the psychological dance. She's communicating interest while testing your emotional control. If you panic, stare too long, or become flustered, you fail the unspoken test. But if you smile subtly, acknowledge the moment, and continue naturally, you've just passed without saying a single word. So when you think about female body language, remember this. The eyes speak volumes. They reveal interest, test your confidence, and build emotional bridges long before any words are exchanged. A man who can read that language doesn't need pickup lines or clever tricks. He connects calmly and confidently because he understands that sometimes the loudest conversation happens in complete silence. 3. The power of proximity. There's a powerful psychology behind how close a woman chooses to stand, sit, or move around you. It might seem small, but her sense of space is one of the most revealing signals of all. Proximity is the language of comfort, trust, and boundaries. It tells you how safe she feels in your presence and whether your energy draws her closer or pushes her away. But here's where most men get it wrong. They either invade her space too quickly, thinking it shows confidence, or they stay too distant, making her feel like there's no connection at all. Understanding the balance between these two extremes can make all the difference between attraction and awkwardness. When a woman moves closer, leans in while you speak, or doesn't flinch when your hands brush by accident, that's the right sign. She's comfortable. Her body is subconsciously saying, I feel okay here. But when she steps back, crosses her arms, or angles her body away, those are wrong signs, signaling she needs distance. Too many men ignore those cues, assuming persistence equals confidence, but in reality, it only signals disregard for her comfort. Confidence isn't about closing space, it's about earning the right for that space to close naturally. Now, here's the correction. The first rule of proximity is respect. You don't move closer until she invites you in, through her body language, not her words. Notice the small shifts. If she mirrors your movements, that's a green light. If she stays still or moves back, slow down. When you respect that rhythm, she starts to feel emotionally safe, and safety is what leads to genuine attraction. It's not about rushing intimacy. It's about building trust in how you handle her boundaries. Another common mistake men make is misreading friendliness as interest. Just because a woman laughs, talks freely, or seems warm doesn't mean she wants closeness. Some women are naturally expressive. It doesn't automatically translate to attraction. The right approach here is awareness. Read the pattern, not the moment. If her proximity stays consistent across different settings, then it's genuine comfort. But if it fluctuates, sometimes close, sometimes distant, it may be situational or cautious curiosity. Either way, your calm presence determines how that comfort grows. One of the most powerful things you can do as a man is to hold your space confidently. Don't chase closeness, attract it. Keep a relaxed posture, maintain open shoulders, and let her energy guide the distance. The more you try to force connection, the faster she'll pull away. But if you stay grounded and attentive, she'll come closer naturally, physically and emotionally. Women are drawn to men who can balance confidence with control, men who understand that real attraction isn't about pressure, it's about presence. So, the right way to handle proximity is simple. Create space that feels safe, not suffocating. Don't rush her into comfort, allow her to walk into it. When a woman feels you respect her boundaries, she opens up without hesitation. That's the true power of proximity. Not the distance you break, but the trust you build while waiting for her to close it herself. 4. Touch and intention. Touch is one of the most powerful forms of human connection, yet it's also one of the most misunderstood, especially between men and women. For a man, understanding the psychology behind touch isn't about physical contact, it's about emotional intention. Every touch carries energy, and that energy tells a woman exactly what kind of man she's dealing with. It can comfort her, inspire her, or completely shut her down. That's why this part isn't about when or how to touch, but about becoming the kind of man whose presence makes touch feel natural, safe, and meaningful. Here's the truth. Women can feel your intention long before you reach out. If your energy is rushed, needy, or uncertain, even a light touch can feel invasive. But if your energy is calm, respectful, and grounded, that same touch can feel reassuring, confident, and warm. The difference isn't in your hands, it's in your mindset. A man who knows himself, who moves with self-respect and quiet purpose, never needs to overthink touch. His energy speaks for him. Women respond to that energy not because it's physical, but because it feels sincere. The motivation here is simple. Become the man who earns the right to touch without ever forcing it. When your presence alone is comforting, when your words hold weight and your composure radiates security, touch becomes a reflection of trust. She feels it, not as a demand, but as an acknowledgement of connection. That's real power, not control, not pressure, but influence born from emotional intelligence. The kind of influence that makes her relax around you, not recoil. Touch is also the mirror of your confidence. In moments of uncertainty, some men fidget, avoid closeness, or act too casual to hide their nerves. Others rush in, using physicality as a shortcut to connection. Both approaches miss the mark. The right path is found in stillness, in being so comfortable in your skin that you don't need to reach for validation. When you are centered, your touch carries intention. It tells her, I'm here, and I respect this moment. That's what separates a man she trusts from one she tolerates. Think of touch as the final expression of emotional alignment. It's the outcome of presence, not the start of it. You don't touch to create attraction. You touch because attraction already exists. So instead of chasing physical closeness, focus on emotional grounding. Build a vibe so authentic that when your hand brushes hers, it feels like a natural extension of the bond you've built, not a move you rehearsed. That's what makes touch powerful. It's real, not calculated. In a world where so many men try to impress through force, be the man who influences through peace. Your control, your restraint, your awareness, those are the marks of maturity. When you master intention, every gesture you make becomes magnetic. And when a woman feels that kind of strength, she doesn't just respond to your touch, she trusts it. That's not just attraction, that's connection on a deeper human level. 5. When words betray feelings. Words are powerful, but in the world of attraction and human behavior, they're often deceptive. A woman might tell you one thing, but her emotions, her tone, her expressions, her body language might say something completely different. This isn't because she's trying to confuse you, it's because emotion often overpowers logic. And if you're a man who listens only to words, you'll constantly misread her truth. But if you learn to hear the feeling behind what she says, you'll start understanding what most men never do. Let's be real. Many men make the mistake of taking everything a woman says at face value. If she says she's fine, they assume she's fine. If she says she's not interested, they walk away without realizing her tone was hesitant, not dismissive. But here's the persuasive truth. Women are emotional communicators, and emotions leak through the cracks of their words. Her hesitation, her pauses, her voice dropping when she says something casual, those are not random. They are the hidden language of truth. The man who can read that is already steps ahead of the rest. However, there's another side to this. Men sometimes twist women's words to fit their own hopes. They convince themselves that every smile, every playful tone means she's into them. That's the wrong interpretation. Reading emotion isn't about fantasy, it's about reality. The right way to understand her is by balancing her words with her behavior. Does what she says match how she acts? If she claims she's not ready for something serious but still seeks your company, there's a deeper layer there. You don't react, you observe. You don't force clarity, You give her space to reveal it naturally. That's emotional discipline, and women respect that more than anything. Here's what most men don't realize. When a woman's words betray her feelings, she's not necessarily being dishonest. Sometimes she's protecting herself, testing whether you're patient enough to see beyond what she says. And that's where persuasion truly lies. Not in trying to change her mind, but in showing her, through your calm, your steadiness, your authenticity, that you're the kind of man who listens deeper. That subtle consistency persuades her heart far more than any clever line ever could. Think about it. Every time you react impulsively to her words, you reveal emotional instability. But when you stay composed, when you respond with empathy instead of ego, you send a message that's louder than speech. It tells her, you don't have to perform around me, you can be real. That's when her guard drops. That's when trust begins. So, when her words and feelings don't align, don't chase for explanations. Observe, stay grounded, and let her emotional truth unfold at its own pace. Women feel safest with men who don't pressure them to be understood. They feel seen by men who already understand. And that's the most persuasive kind of power there is. When your presence speaks louder than her words, you don't have to convince her of anything. She'll feel it, and that's when real connection starts. 6. Confidence and the female response. Confidence is one of the most magnetic traits a man can possess, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. Most men think confidence is about being loud, dominant, or overly assertive, but true confidence is none of those things. Real confidence is quiet power, the kind of energy that doesn't need validation, doesn't seek approval, and doesn't crumble under pressure. It's not about what you say. It's about how you carry yourself, how you respond, and how you make others feel in your presence. And women, more than anyone, can sense it instantly. From a psychological standpoint, confidence triggers a biological response. When a man is calm and self-assured, he signals stability, a key quality women subconsciously associate with safety and reliability. It's not about being perfect. It's about being composed. When you walk into a room with relaxed posture, steady eye contact, and an easy smile, you send a message that says, I'm in control of myself. That simple presence communicates more than any grand gesture ever could. Women respond not to the noise of your confidence, but to the peace of it. Now let's break down a major misconception. Many men mistake arrogance for confidence. Arrogance tries to prove something. Confidence doesn't need to. Arrogance speaks loudly. Confidence lets silence do the work. A confident man doesn't boast about his worth. He demonstrates it through how he treats people, how he handles rejection, and how he reacts under pressure. The difference is emotional intelligence. When you're genuinely confident, you're not threatened by challenges or by others' opinions, and that emotional balance is what women find deeply attractive. Confidence also dictates how a woman will behave around you. When she senses your steadiness, her body language changes. She becomes more relaxed, more open, and more authentic. But if she senses insecurity, she mirrors it. She becomes guarded, cautious, and less expressive. This is why emotional awareness is so crucial. A woman doesn't just respond to your words, she responds to your energy. If your energy says, I'm uncertain, she'll subconsciously protect herself. If your energy says, I'm centered, she'll naturally let her guard down. Education in this area is about mastering inner peace, not outer performance. Build confidence by keeping your promises to yourself. When you say you'll do something, do it. When you fail, learn and move forward. That internal consistency builds self-trust, and self-trust radiates outward as confidence. The more grounded you become, the less you rely on external validation. That's when women start responding differently. Not because you've changed how you act around them, but because you've changed how you feel about yourself. So, the next time you interact with a woman, don't focus on impressing her. Focus on expressing your truth calmly and clearly. Confidence isn't about dominance. It's about control over your emotions, your thoughts, and your reactions. When a woman senses that kind of power, she doesn't just notice you, she respects you. And respect more than attraction is what sustains real connection. 7. Reading without overreacting. One of the biggest mistakes men make when trying to understand women is overreacting. A slight change in her tone, a shift in her body language, or a short reply, and suddenly he's spiraling, overthinking every detail. But here's the truth. The ability to read a woman's behavior means nothing if you can't control your reaction to it. The real skill isn't just in observation, it's in interpretation, patience, and emotional control. That's what separates a man who truly understands women from one who gets lost trying to decode them. When a woman pulls back or acts differently, most men immediately assume the worst. They think she's losing interest or hiding something. But what many fail to understand is that a woman's emotions are fluid. They change with her environment, her mood, and how safe she feels around you. Sometimes she's quiet, not because she's uninterested, but because she's processing. Sometimes she acts distant, not because she's done, but because she's testing whether you'll stay calm or become reactive. Women pay close attention to how a man handles uncertainty. Your reaction reveals more about you than your words ever could. If you panic, overanalyze, or start chasing for reassurance, you lose your power. Not because she wants to manipulate you, but because you've shown her that you can be emotionally swayed too easily. But when you stay composed, when you remain kind but unbothered, you project strength. You're showing her that you can handle emotions without being controlled by them. And that's incredibly attractive. It communicates leadership, stability, and maturity, the three things women instinctively look for in a man. The key is to read with curiosity, not judgment. If she's distant, instead of asking, "What did I do wrong?" ask yourself, "What might she be feeling right now?" That subtle shift in mindset transforms how you connect. It makes you empathetic rather than defensive. And that empathy doesn't just calm her, it strengthens the bond. When she feels understood instead of pressured, she naturally opens up again. That's how emotional rhythm works. It flows, and your job as a man is to guide that flow, not fight it. Here's what's engaging about this truth. Women love a man who can stay grounded in chaos. Life tests everyone, and when she sees that you don't break under emotional pressure, she feels safe. That safety breeds attraction. You become the calm in her storm, the anchor when everything else feels unstable. That's the man she remembers. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the one who read her without reacting, who understood without accusing, who stayed patient when others would have panicked. So, the next time her mood shifts or her words don't match her behavior, pause, breathe, observe. Then respond with calm understanding instead of fear. That's emotional strength. And once you master that, you'll realize the secret isn't just reading women, it's mastering yourself first. Because the man who can stay grounded no matter how she moves is the man who truly leads in love, confidence, and connection. Understanding female body language and love behavior isn't about control, it's about awareness. Every gesture, glance, and tone carries meaning, and when a man learns to read them calmly, he moves with purpose instead of confusion. The key is never to chase interpretation, but to embody confidence, patience, and respect. Women don't respond to men who react, they respond to men who understand. When you can see beyond words, connect beyond ego, and listen without fear, you become the man who stands out. Because true attraction isn't about performance, it's about presence, emotional strength, and the ability to truly see her. And before you go, remember, what you've just watched is only a small piece of the puzzle. If you're serious about mastering the dating game and building real confidence in modern relationships, don't wait. Visit https www.stoicapproachtolife.com GVVLS right now and get access to the full teaching. That's where the real transformation begins.